The city of El Paso renewed its emergency declaration.
The order allows schools or hotels to be converted into emergency shelters when there are surges in migration. Fox's Joy Addison has an update on how the city is dealing with a high number of people crossing the border.
Last time I was here in El Paso, the city was so overwhelmed that we saw thousands of migrants sleeping in the street. And if you look just behind me, there are still some having to camp out. And there are 2 hotels that have been converted to emergency shelters. But city officials say this time it is not due to overwhelming migrant surge.
Thanks to God, I was able to find a shelter called Mission Rescue. I got there and they let me make a call so I could talk to my family. They took us to the shelter and I was there for 15 days.
Things have slowed down here at the southern border, but the city is trying to cope with housing a large number of migrants in the area for longer than expected.
Each of our shelters that are helping in this particular area, what we refer to as the downtown shelter network, all of which are operating at or over capacity at this point.
We've actually had to house in hotels twice in the past 5 days.
El Paso city manager says the problem isn't how many migrants are arriving, but who's arriving.
And so you start seeing more Venezuelans, or they don't have a means to get to where they're going. So they don't have that financial sponsorship to move on to those destination cities that they've already chosen. And so they're relying on the state's transportation system.
But that transportation system has been slow, which is causing the long stays.
The hotel utilization is due to the fact that the state was only doing transportation 3 times a week.
This is the first week that the state's transport has been back running 5 days a week. Shelter directors and local officials are hopeful that it will help with some of the backlog and finally give the city some relief.
Less than 1% of any of them passing through want to stay in El Paso. And so once you get that transportation going, it's able to maintain with our local shelters and NGOs.
So we're all watching those daily numbers, okay, just to identify trends and to try to be proactive as it comes through.
And the shelter director that I spoke with told me, thanks to the emergency declaration that the city of El Paso continues to renew, they have not had to turn away any local residents looking for a place to sleep, which was a major issue during the record migrant surges. In El Paso, Texas, Joy Addison, Fox News.